Hello everyone, it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer, and I'm here to review the new indie mystery thriller, Silent as the Grave, and this is from director Brad Podolsky, who wrote the film and co-directed this with Dan Gremley. And this film focuses on a driven, passionate documentarian, Chris Novak, played by Michael Kanicki, and his journey of trying to figure out what happened to his deceased uncle. And there's forces out there that are trying to stop him. And this tension that builds, the danger that becomes more apparent, and the stress that this puts on Novak's relationship with his wife, played by Isabella Alonso. And this film is certainly a small scale, little indie kind of thriller, and you could definitely see some of the cracks in terms of budget and filmmaking and sometimes the acting. But it does tell a very compelling story. It has a great concept. This idea of a documentarian, he's coming off of this film noir documentary that he did that, is appreciated by those close to him, but he feels like this very personal story, this story about the death of his uncle, could be the one that really lifts him to the next level of being a true filmmaker and being appreciated for that. And there's that struggle of realizing, like, his wife, who's pregnant and has a career, she's in this place and he's still here, or at least in his mind, he's not at a place where he wants to be. And he's so driven to this goal of figuring out this mystery so we can make this film. And I feel like that's very relatable. We've all been in situations where we get so fixated on trying to accomplish something, but you don't realize the negative impact that this might have. And this story, I feel like, is really anchored by Kanicki's performance. There's a good sense of mystery. So there's definitely moments that they're familiar, you expect them in this kind of story where it's like, oh, whether it's a whistleblower or an investigator, somebody's going to be putting the pressure on, messing up the house, messing up the office, getting physical. And there's some really solid, thrilling moments in this film that do build off of those expected and familiar beats to still deliver something. And the mystery is something that is shocking. It's surprising and it works. And it adds a lot of layers to this familial dynamic for Novak's family, and I feel like that's one of the most important pieces to what makes this film work as well as it does, is that there's a deep emotional connection from not only Novak's passion for filmmaking, making documentaries, but trying to figure out what went wrong, what led to the death of his uncle, that has this emotional impact. And sure, there's some familiar beats of like, hey, this guy's becoming too obsessive, and the wife's like, you're putting us all in danger, I might have to leave you, those kinds of things. But I do feel like Kanicki and Alonso do a fine job of making that feel organic and emotional. Those moments hit. And this film has a few moments of interesting dynamic shots or thoughtful ideas of how this story plays out. So it has its moments, and it hits the beats and does them in a effective way. And in the end, you wind up having a nice little effective mystery thriller, ripped right out of like this old hard-boiled kind of investigator story, this time with a documentarian at the lead. And in the end, I do think that this is a really fine film. But those are my thoughts on Silent as the Grave. Let me know what you think, and let's talk some movies. But thank you as always for tuning in and supporting your Wasteland reviewer.